This text is titled Stevie by John Steptoe. This is actually the medium for this is actually paint. So one thing I learned about him is that he was a painter before he became an illustrator, and he actually went to a publishing company seeking to submit his photos for people to write stories for them, but he ended up writing stories himself. So this is about a little boy named Stevie who comes to visit our character here on the taller boy here, but he really doesn't like Stevie. Stevie gets on his nerves. As you can see here, John Steptoe uses the white space as a frame, but here the text bleeds over into the next page, and this symbolizes a separation. So this is Stevie, and this is our main character really not wanting Stevie around. This text is titled She Come Bringing Me That Baby Girl by Eloise Greenfield, illustrated by John Steptoe. It is about a little boy who wanted a little brother, but his parents end up bringing him home a baby girl. Same medium as before, but the title is a little different. It almost looks like they painted it on paper or stamped it on paper and then kind of glued it onto the book. I also want you to know or notice how our character Kevin here is on the right side of the page. He's in peril. He didn't want a little baby girl. And if you can look at his face, he looks a little upset. But however, at the end of the text, he's on the right. And we know that the right page, of course, is a safe place, a calm place, and they look like one big happy family. This text is titled Baby Says, written and illustrated by John Steptoe. This is an important book because according to a Hornbook article, I learned that this book represents John Steptoe in sort of a transition from a painter to an actual illustrator, where he transitioned to the style of realism. Caldecott Honor Book and Coretta Scott King Award-winning book, Baby Says. It's about a little boy who has a baby brother who wants to play with him, but he's too busy doing his own thing to pay his little brother some attention. One of the things I want to point out is how Baby always stays on the left of the page. And remember, this is sort of a calm space for the character as well as a safe place, while Big Brother, the one who's being irritated or the one in peril, stays on the left. And Baby Brother almost never leaves the right page. As a matter of fact, the last page on the book, the Big Brother joins him on the left. And as you can see, this is a very calm and happy moment. This is Mufaro's Beautiful Daughters, authored and illustrated by John Steptoe. It's an African tale or a Cinderella story. It's a Caldecott Honor book as well as a Reading Rainbow book. And if you're familiar with the Cinderella story, you know that there is a king looking for his queen, and there is some sort of evil stepsister or evil being mistreating our Cinderella. And on the cover, you actually have our evil stepsister, Manyara. I first want to point out the establishing shot on our opening pages, where we see the setting in which this story will take place. So we see it will be a book full of lots of animals in a mountainous region, lots of green. If you look closer, there's a village. So this gives us a clue of what our setting will be like through this text. Next, I want to point out how the illustrations are commonly on the same page with the text. But in moments of excitement, as Vicky Smith pointed out, the illustration and the text are separated. And this is definitely a moment of excitement because the girls and their father are finding out that the king is looking for his queen. Finally, I want to review the story of Jumping Mouse. It's a Native American legend retold and illustrated by John Steptoe. It's about a mouse who dreams of leaving the same old mundane world to visit the far-off land he has heard from his elders. It is a Caldecott Honor book. Two things I want to point out here is, first of all, the establishing shot. So we see this is going to be a very natural place the story is taking place in, as well as the illuminated letters. So this is the beginning of our story here. Here, there are about three things I want to point out. I want to point out that the mouse is to the left of the page where he's simply taking a break from his long travels. But there's also a page break here when he sees a snake. So this symbolizes a moment of excitement because now the reader knows that the mouse is in danger. However, the jumping mouse escapes the snake, and John Steptoe illustrates him on the left side of the page. And as you can see, I underlined the word safety, as we know the left side is a safe place for our character.